In the news, Nigeria crude oil, petrol price now 212 naira per litre. Crude oil, federal government apologizes to Nigerians over new fuel price of 212 naira per litre. In business, stimulus facility, manufacturers unable to access CBN's 1 trillion naira. On the global scene, COVID-19 pandemic, all America's citizens to be vaccinated by May 1. And across Africa, Rwanda genocide, Hotel Rwanda hero refuses to attend terror. In sports festival, ministry fixes April 2nd to 14. Details shortly. This is TERECE TV, your digital-first Pan-African network. I am Rose Audu, and this is TOS News 360. The Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency has reviewed in a new monthly template that the price of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, has reached 212 naira per litre. According to the template, which the PPRA released midnight, petrol is expected to sell at a lower retail price of 209 naira per litre and at an upper retail price of 212 naira per litre. And Nigerian marketers usually use the upper band for pump price. As seen in the template, the expected S-depot price is 206 naira per litre, with a landing cost for petrol litre as 189 naira. This is despite the Nigerian Petroleum Corporation saying there won't be any change in the price of PMS in the month of March. And still on the oil, the federal government Friday has apologized to Nigerians over the latest 212 naira per litre petrol price confusion in the country. Speaking at the groundbreaking for the Runga's composite cylinder manufacturing plant in Alaro City Free Zone, Ekpe, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipriya Silva, has asked Nigerians to disregard the increase, explaining that it was a mix-up. Also, the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPRA, has declared that its publication of monthly templates does not amount to increasing the price of petroleum products, as such increases are supposed to be determined by market forces under the current deregulation of the sector. And over 180 students have been rescued from several students who went missing following the attack of Federal College of Forestry Mechanization, AKWA, local government in Kaduna State. According to a statement by the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, troops of the Nigerian Army in the early hours of today, Friday, 12th March 2021, rescued 180 citizens, many of them students at the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization, Afaka, Igabe local government area of Kaduna State. The armed bandits in large number had attacked the institution at around 11:30 p.m. on Thursday and kidnapped several students and staff. According to reports, some of the rescued students were injured and currently receiving treatment at a military facility. The Deputy Assistant Secretary Bureau of African Affairs, Michael Gonzalez, on Thursday during a telephonic briefing has said that Boko Haram and the Islamic State of West Africa province were not involved in the cases of abduction going on in Niger, Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna states, and in other parts of the Northwest. Although Boko Haram has taken responsibility for several of these kidnappings in the past, Gonzalez said there was no indication that the terrorists were involved in this. The official, who said the U.S. are unhappy about the adoption of school children, are ready to provide appropriate support to the federal government if the need arises. He also stated that most of the criminal activities are being carried out by bandits who were motivated by money and other economic considerations. Meanwhile, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, says the ASTRAZENECA vaccine recently inaugurated and distributed to states to treat COVID-19 pandemic has no side effects. Adeyeye, who stated this on Thursday in Abuja shortly after she got vaccinated, said that NAFDAC went through the application dossier of the vaccine before granting approval to be administered on Nigerians for the treatment of COVID-19. The director also stated the quality, efficacy and safety of the vaccine were from the report that over 20,000 people had a phase in the vaccine's assessment, and the effectiveness of the vaccine outweighs the risk from its scrutiny. This is your digital first Pan-African network, TOS TV network. You're watching TOS News 360. Up next, development across Africa after the break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. In Africa, Paul Rusesabagina, the man portrayed as a hero in a Hollywood movie about the Rwanda genocide, has said he will not appear again at his terrorism trial. Because the court denies me my rights in this trial, I am not expecting justice here, so I will not appear in this trial again, he told the court in Rwanda's capital, Kigali. Earlier during the hearing on Friday, he had asked the court for 6 months to prepare his trial and to be able to choose his own defense team, including his Belgian lawyer. But the court rejected his request, citing non-reciprocity between the Belgian and Rwanda bars and denied right to timely justice to the 20 other suspects on trial with him. He is likely to now be tried in absentia. A fierce critic of Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, he is accused of sponsoring deadly attacks in Rwanda in 2018 and 2019 by the FLN, the armed wing of the Rwanda Movement for Democratic Change, a coalition of opposition parties of which he is vice president. And away from Rwanda, in South Africa, a Mazulu king, Godwi Zwelithini, passed away Friday morning at the age of 72. He was in hospital for more than a month for diabetes treatment. Traditional Prime Minister to the Zulu monarch, Prince Magatu, says the body of the monarch is expected to lie in state at the Royal Palace Friday afternoon. The public will be allowed to pay their respects. He also confirmed that the king passed away of COVID-19 complications contracted while admitted in hospital. Zwelithini, speaking in a media briefing, urged people to observe COVID-19 health protocols as proceedings continue. Meanwhile, millions of people globally, including some African countries, risk dying from conflict-driven hunger, with the COVID-19 pandemic and climate change making the situation worse. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned during a council meeting on food and security.
And today I have one simple message. If you don't feed people, you feed conflict. Conflict drives hunger and famine drive conflict. At the same time, conflict forces people to leave their homes, land and jobs, disrupts agriculture and trade, reduces access to vital resources like water and electricity, and so drives hunger. At the end of 2020, more than 88 million people were suffering from acute hunger due to conflict and instability, a 20% increase.
In South Sudan, Guterres said 60% of the populations were increasingly hungry. He said the Democratic Republic of the Congo experienced the world's largest food crisis last year, with nearly 21.8 million people facing acute hunger between July and December. Meanwhile, Guterres said UN agencies were appealing for $5.5 billion in emergency mobilization for those most affected by hunger. He added that he has decided to establish a high-level task force on preventing famine The task force will include representatives from the World Food Programme and the Food and Agriculture Organization. It will bring coordinated high-level attention to famine prevention and mobilize support to the most affected countries. The group will cooperate with the non-governmental organizations who are our vital partners in feeding the hungry around the world. The group will work with international financial institutions and other specialized UN agencies, including the International Fund for Agricultural Development. On the global scene, President Joe Biden, in his first primetime address as president for 50 days on Thursday, said he would order states to make all adults eligible for a coronavirus vaccine by May 1 and urged Americans to stay vigilant or face more restrictions hours after he signed a $1.9 trillion stimulus bill into law. In his speech, President Biden said he did not expect large events to be able to go ahead, but he hoped small groups could meet again by July 4, where not only independence would be marked as a nation, but independence from the virus would also be marked.
In fact, just yesterday, our plan to buy an additional 100 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines. These two companies, competitors, have come together for the good of the nation, and they should be applauded for it. It's truly a national effort, just like we saw during World War II. Now, because of all the work we've done, we'll have enough vaccine supply for all adults in America by the end of May. That's months ahead of schedule. And we're mobilizing thousands of vaccinators to put the vaccine in one's arm. All adult Americans will be eligible to get a vaccine no later than May 1. That's much earlier than expected. Let me be clear. That doesn't mean everyone's going to have that shot immediately, but it means you'll be able to get in line beginning May 1. Every adult will be eligible to get their shot.
Despite the good news on vaccinations, Biden warned that the fight is far from over. He called on people to maintain social distancing measures, hand washing, and wear a mask. The World Health Organization has said countries should not stop using the ASTRAZENECA's COVID-19 vaccine over fears it causes blood clots, as there is no indication this is true. Bulgaria, Denmark, and Norway are among the countries that have paused its use. But on Friday, WHO spokeswoman Margaret Harris said there was no link between the jab and an increased risk of developing a clot. She said it was an excellent vaccine and should continue to be used. There have been about 30 cases in Europe of thromboembolic events or developing blood clots after the vaccine was administered. The WHO is investigating the report as it does not any safety questions, Harris said. The European Medicines Agency, the EU's medicines regulator, said earlier there was no indication the jab was causing the blood clots. It also said the number of cases in vaccinated people was not higher than in the general population. AstraZeneca said the drug safety had been studied extensively in clinical trials. And this is TOS News 360 on TOS TV Network. Up next is business and sport news. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. On business, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has lamented the difficulty in accessing the central bank's $1 trillion COVID-19 stimulus for manufacturing and import substitution for 2020. Its Director General Segun Ajayi, in a position paper titled Comment of Man on CBN Intervention Fund for Manufacturers and Naira for Dollar Scheme, and received a Thursday, said members had not been able to access it due to untold truth of the participating financial institutions and deposit money banks. Man, while acknowledging the excellent initiative of the CBN in setting up the $1 trillion COVID-19 stimulus facility for manufacturing and import substitution, observed that most of its members who applied were not able to get it. The 20th National Sports Festival tagged Edo 2020, is set to hold from April 2nd to 14. The decision was reached after a virtual extraordinary council meeting held on February 8, 2021. Details of the National Sports Festival are as follows. Opening of Games Village, April 2nd to 3rd, 2021. Opening ceremony, April 4, 2021. Closing ceremony, April 14, 2021. Closing of Games Village, April 15, 2021. The festival, which was initially built to hold between March 22nd and April 1, 2020, had suffered several postponements due to COVID-19 and poor funding. And still on sports, South Africa Patrice Motsepe is the new president of the Confederation of African Football after being elected unopposed on Friday. The 59-year-old's path to the presidency was cleared over the last week when his rival candidate for the presidency withdrew from the race, while another rival, Madagascar's Ahmed, was barred from running. Addressing a gathering of Africa's member association at the elections venue in the Moroccan capital Rabat, Motsepe stressed his belief in how unity can herald a new era for African football. It's a huge honor and privilege for me to be CAF president, said Motsepe. He continued with appreciation to FIFA president Gianni Infantino for the vision and encouragement of unity. Motsepe added that the challenges of Africa can succeed only when Africans unite. He also said that the leadership present in Africa and that of football in every country gives him confidence and inspires him. He is absolutely confident that by working together, African football not just reaches a summit, but amongst the best in the world. Motsepe, the owner of 2016 African champions Mamelodi Sundowns, one of South Africa's most successful teams, has previously spoken of his desire to see an African team win the World Cup. In an accident on Friday morning, a player and two officials of AKWA United were reportedly injured while on their way for a Nigeria Professional Football League clash against Jigawa Golden Stars in Kaduna. The player and officials were rushed to the hospital for treatment due to injuries sustained from the accident. The team was conveying the players from their base in Uyo to Kaduna for their match day 15 tie versus Jigawa Golden Stars was involved in a head-on collision with a truck along Enugu State. And that is TERECE News 360 on your digital-first Pan-African network. For more updates, visit www.terestvnetwork.com and do follow and like TERECE TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on TERECE TV Network. I am Rose Audu, and bye for now.
But we as a continent are now defined